The importance of our employees is evident with every key performance indicator in the dealership. Every customer transaction could be positive or negative based solely on the attitude of one individual employee. In some dealerships, they turn people over like clothing and believe that that improves the attitude of everybody because they're in fear of their job. They're going to go the extra mile because they're walking around on eggshells wondering if today's the day they're going to get fired. In other dealerships, they're so committed to their team, they allow poor performance out of misguided loyalty. I am not a fan of employee turnover. And I would venture to say that in my entire career in leadership, I feel that I could still count on my hands the number of times I've had to part ways with an individual responsible under my leadership. So you can see that that's a rarity. But yet, there are times that it's a necessity. Let's look at this in a little more detail. One of the most common mistakes dealership management makes is that they're weak in explaining the expectations to the employee. You can imagine when a team member doesn't meet the expectations of a leader, one becomes frustrated with the poor performance. Then, if that individual doesn't even know what they're supposed to do or how that it's supposed to be accomplished, there's no way that that's going to be a positive outcome. There is no way. So first thing in leadership, we need to make sure every team member knows what the expectations are. They're clear, they're well explained, they're precise, and yet allow for involvement of opinion, attitude. Why do we do it this way? You know, a child, many times as they're growing up, will go, well, why do you want it done that way? Dad, why do you want it done this way? Mom? And they go, because I'm Dad. That's why. I don't need no more explanation than I'm Dad. You know, it's the same with the leadership. If they went in and took the time to explain why this is an expectation, why do we do walk-arounds? Why do we have certain processes? Make sure the expectations of every team member are clear. That dealership processes aren't optional, and they do require total buy-in by everyone on the team. I remember one time I was training a dealership on site, and one of the team members said, I don't have time to do this. I will do it when I have time. And I don't care what the process is. If you allow people to do it only when they have time, the process is dead right at that decision. You're not going to ever have time to perform a process. Total buy-in, total understanding by the entire team should be a requirement. When a team member doesn't clearly meet the defined expectations, immediate coaching by management should occur. It shouldn't be the next day. It shouldn't be the next week. It shouldn't be the next time. It should be quick, detailed, and processed. This coaching should never be in front of another team member unless they're involved in the specific issue. One of the most destructive things you can do is have a boss come back and ridicule another employee in front of others. And sometimes these leaders believe that that's a motivating thing. They'll come back and chew someone out and walk away, and they think that that's going to be a wonderful day for that department. Never going to happen. Coaching should always be encouraging and uplifting, never involving beating down the spirit of anybody. Good leadership also listens to other points of view, yet understands they're not going to compromise on values and commitment to provide exceptional customer care and never deviate from the established processes. When member management is involved in coaching, they also need to always have a written record of the coaching session with all parties dating and signing it. Now, I personally recommend every year, as that comes up, those documents are shredded, destroyed, removed from the employee file after a year is transacted without repeat occurrences. Never let someone say that that's forever. One mistake or one deviation is forever going to be a part of their record. Let them know they can earn their way out. Now, there are times, too, there are individual employees where removing them is necessary. Again, I've had personally, could count on both hands in over 30 years of management where this was required. So it should be rare. Terminating an employee is never easy. However, if an individual won't respond to the coaching efforts of management, action must be taken. If management allows inappropriate behavior, the entire team is affected like a cancer, spreading throughout the body of a human. Few guidelines here, though. I always went with 3 strikes, you're out. So no one was ever surprised when I had to issue a termination. They knew it because in the written reports, in the coaching sessions, I would say the next time we talk, if we talk about this within the next period of time, the next 12 months, it won't be a maybe. It will result in your termination. And so when I call them up, go, yeah, I know, I did it. Thanks for the other shots. That you warned me, and here we are. Should never be a surprise unless the issue is integrity. But totally document all coaching sessions, and there needs to be at least 3 coaching sessions before, with no positive response or change before you can even consider termination. And don't lose sight of the fact that we all serve only one purpose, and that's the care for the customer. And in no way, if a manager allows deviation from policies or principles or the expectations, there's no way to properly care for the customer. There's no room for any member in the dealership team performing below standards over a long period of time. They can't be happy there. If someone flat out doesn't care and has the wrong attitude, remove the tumor and go about finding a suitable replacement. I've seen it in technicians and advisors, the different positions throughout the dealership. They feel they walk on water and they can do whatever they want to do, and no one's going to touch them because I'm the superstar tech. I've got all my ratings, and I'm a level 1 master tech. That can't be allowed. Good leadership has to have the team members responding to their coaching, and if they can't, you might need to remove that. Consider that would be necessary. That would be a removal that is necessary. I want one more final point in this. A really strong leader considers every time they have to make a termination a personal failure. We couldn't motivate them, explain to them, get them to respond. In essence, termination is a failure for the strong leader. I hope everyone is well, and I'll talk to you next week.
We're going to talk about processes that can bring in additional hundreds of thousands of dollars into your dealership. But I want to explain right away, that's not why we do it. We do it because it's the right way to do business. The money follows that. It's the customer's expectation when they bring a vehicle into your dealership that you're going to look the vehicle over and tell them what it needs to be at peak performance. It's our obligation to inform them and educate them every time, every car. The shocking truth is that the staffs at most dealerships don't even recommend or look for what the customer's needs are. One time I was walking through the shop and I was underneath a vehicle where they were doing a brake job repair. And I noticed that the brake lines were so corroded they were unsafe. So I challenged the technician and I asked them, did the customer decline the brake lines? And I was shocked with his answer. He said that he didn't like that type of work, so he never even recommended it. This is not the way to care for a customer. This is not a way to meet our obligation. Can you imagine if that customer's going down the road, has a panic stop on a brake, and the brake lines failed? What would the responsibility be for your dealership to have never even recommended that? One of my own personal regrets is that we never recommended batteries on just a maintenance replacement. Instead, I would wait until the battery failed and they were towed into the dealership. It was $150 for the vehicle to be towed in. Then we had to have a technician diagnose it, determine it's a battery, and then replace that battery. The customer doesn't understand why it took $350 to replace that battery when Walmart puts it in for 85 bucks. The sad truth is that we failed that customer because we should have recommended it before it failed. Isn't that what preventative maintenance is all about? The mission is to inform and educate the customer every time, every car, what that vehicle needs to be in peak performance. I want to talk to you about an incident that changed my viewpoint on this dramatically. An advisor came up to me one time and asked if I would get involved with an elderly lady sitting in the waiting area. The repairs on her vehicle cost more than the vehicle was worth. So I went in and I explained that she should go over to the used car department, pick something out, and instantly tears welled up in her eyes. And she said, "Can you fix it?" "Can you fix it?" I said, "Yes, we can repair the vehicle, but it doesn't make financial sense." And she said, "Fix it." Because you see, that was my husband's car, and he passed away last year, and when I drive it, I feel closer to him. She fixed that vehicle because she understood the value of it greater than I did. You see, that changed my view on all of this. All my mission was to tell her what was wrong with the vehicle. You need to establish a culture that says, every time, every car, I'm going to tell the customer what their vehicle needs to be at peak performance. That's the commitment. That is our obligation, to inform and educate. Make that your mission.